Sorry. The Nigerian distinguished ladies and gentlemen to be here this afternoon. Today marks a watershed in our march towards the new dawn in Ekiti. I want to especially thank the Director General of the Security and Exchange Commission and its management, your good self and the management of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the highly esteemed investors, and all the parties for their respective and unique contributions in ensuring the success of the second Ekiti State bond issuance, as you rightly noted. My information is that today's closing bell ceremony, as the name implies, is often the climax of activities, bringing into fruition the efforts of the state to access funds from the capital market for industrial and infrastructural development. Further to our successful outing at the capital market, the NEC approved the listing of Ekiti State's 20 billion fixed rate infrastructure development bond 2018 under our 25 billion debt issuance program on 13th of March this year. Our decision to source funds from the bond market was born out of our commitment to the rapid transformation of our state. It will be noted that the infrastructure development program is a major component in our 8-point development agenda for the state. Before the inception of this administration, we were aware that the low revenue accruable to the state would not be able to cope with the high-level socio-economic development of our dream. Hence, the need to access funds from other sources outside the routine revenue available to the state. We also had the benefit of the history of the success of the first bond taken under His Excellency's administration, Otunbani Adebayo, my authentic predecessor, as I mentioned earlier. It's on record that some of the tangible projects standing today in Ekiti are products of that first bond. The projects, among others, include the prominent Ekiti House in Abuja near the Disney Dome, the Ojo Olobun Apartments in Victoria Highland there in Lagos, the building currently serving as the Governor's Office in Lagos, and some of the remaining good roads that we have from that era in Ekiti State. I might as well mention that the roads constructed by the successive administrations didn't stand up to scrutiny, but the roads constructed with the bond money from the first bond are still standing today. A total of 11 projects have already been awarded since we took this bond 3 months ago. The road projects are already under construction. All of the contractors are fully mobilized, and they are all being fully funded from the proceeds of the bond. We expect a completion period of roughly a year for all of those 11 roads that have been awarded. We're also, from the proceeds of the fund, working on our popular Ikogosi Warm Spring Resort hotel facilities, construction of the ultra-modern Civic Center in Ado-Ekiti, construction of the ultra-modern Market and Mall in Ado-Ekiti too, construction of the Lagos Liaison Office, as we mentioned, the Governor's Lord, the Governor's Office, the rehabilitation and expansion of Ado Water Works, the rehabilitation and expansion of Ero Water Works, and the establishment of the Ekiti State School of Agriculture. Let me assure you that we are fully committed to the actualization of these projects. The bond proceeds shall be judiciously utilized to ensure the completion of all projects earmarked on time and on cost. It is interesting to note that all the projects were duly inspected and approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission. The Commission has also informed us that they would monitor the execution of the projects. We have a target of the next 24 months to conclude all the projects, and with God on our side, this will certainly launch us into a glorious new dawn. It will be recalled that the state received a letter of commendation from the Securities and Exchange Commission for good performance on the first tranche of the first bond. It is our goal to surpass this achievement by the quantum and quality of projects. As already mentioned, a large percentage of the projects have been awarded, with works at various stages of completion. I have directed close monitoring and effective supervision by all concerned to ensure quality performance and timely delivery. I've also directed that a progress report be rendered to SEC on a quarterly basis as a measure of our accountability and transparency. Let me seize this opportunity to commend the lead issuing house, as well as all the parties for their individual and corporate contributions to the actualization of the bond. I also owe our investors a debt of gratitude, and thank you for believing in us. Let me have a return to some of the areas in which you have highlighted as needing some support from government side. Usually, this is largely driven by the private sector, so you don't often need support from government. But I want to assure you that I'm an active player in the Governors Forum, and I am familiar with some of the issues that you've raised. We stand ready as a state to support all of your efforts in ensuring that we play a much more active role in the privatization process in the country, and support your request for tax breaks and on various transactions. Also, we did try on our part to get PFA investments into our bond, but because we had a time lag, there was an issue of clarification from PENCOM. So we know the importance of that, and we know the value that would come with it. Subsequently, I'm sure by the time we're doing our second tranche, we'll be fully ready to take advantage of the PFA investments in that particular tranche. And as for support to brokers and resolving the emerging debt issue that is real, that we all read about, clearly for us in Ekiti, we would be there to support the initiatives that you're taking in that regard. On sovereign wealth fund, well, I'm sure you know the story. We're not averse to savings. Governors are not opposed at all to saving for the rainy day, as contrary to the impression that might have been created. Our issue really relates to who guards the guardian. If you have a sovereign wealth fund, are we going to be central in managing the fund? Because we've had experience in this country of the federal government masquerading as if it's the federation. And we do have a serious objection to that, because it's against the constitution of the country. But once we're able to resolve those ownership issues and management issues, I'm sure governors would be the first to line up behind the initiative to have a sovereign wealth fund in place. But a certain impression has been created in the media that we went to court against the sovereign wealth fund. We did not. All of the discussions we've had, including our disagreements, were internal disagreements with the federal government. We went to court to challenge the notion of excess crude fund, because we do not believe that there is anything so-called. This was the creation of President Obasanjo. It has no place in the Nigerian constitution, and we're glad that the federal government has now accepted that it was at fault and they're ready to settle out of court. It's all about strengthening this democracy and not promoting an elected dictatorship in Abuja. So once again, I really want to thank you for this reception and to thank you for all the support you've offered to this bond issue. Thank you very much.
We started a process last year of making sure that those that come to ring the bell on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange have something to go back with to show that they actually did it. So this one is a plaque. It says the Nigerian Stock Exchange, His Excellency Dr. Kayode Fayemi, Executive Governor of Ekiti State, ringing the closing bell of the Nigerian Stock Exchange on April 3rd, 2012. And we're all witnesses to it. Congratulations.
With you our pride and joy as the land of honor, and this is the plaque of Ekiti State of Nigeria, the land of honor and the fountain of knowledge. Thank you.
How come there are no women there? Where are all people? Oh,
That's it.
We have His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Ekiti State, with us, Dr. Kayode Fayemi. Please give him a warm welcome. I'm up here with some members of my securities. I'm very delighted to be here, and I'm here with a strong delegation from Ekiti State, including my authentic predecessor in office. You may have heard that there were some pretenders in between his period and now, so that's why he's the authentic predecessor. And the Honorable Commissioner of Finance is here, Mr. Dakokala. The Honorable Commissioner of Economic Planning and Budget, Mr. Debo Ajayi. the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Civic Orientation, Honorable Fumini Afuye, the Special Advisor. Okay, I think, okay, we might have to be here.
Thank you very much, MT Billion Marathon, which is the first tranche out of their 25 billion issue, which was oversubscribed actually. I would invite His Excellency to make a few remarks to commemorate the occasion.
It's a great pleasure for me to be here this afternoon to really mark the march to a new dawn in Ekiti State. I understand that by its very nature, the closing bell ceremony is a culmination and successful heralding of the bond issuance in industrial and infrastructural development. Further to our successful outing, the capital market, the NSE approved the listing of Ekiti State 20 billion fixed rate infrastructure development bond 2018 under our 25 billion debt issuance program on the 13th of March 2012. I'm here today not only to ring the closing bell for the market, but also to express the gratitude of the government and people of Ekiti State to this august body, and as you say in April, and all concerned for the success of the bond issuance. Our decision to source funds from the bond market was born out of our commitment to the rapid transformation of Ekiti State. It will be noted that infrastructure development is a major component in our 8-point development agenda for the state. Before the inception of this administration, we were aware that the low revenue accruable to the state will not be able to cope with our high-level socio-economic development of our dream. Hence, the need to access funds from other sources outside the routine revenue available to the state. But we're not new at this. We have a history with this exchange. And it's the benefit of that history that urged us on when we approached the capital market. Many of you, distinguished dealers, may recall that we were here in 2001 to raise a 4 billion naira bond under the auspices of Otunba Adebayo when he was governor of Ekiti State. Not only was that bond oversubscribed to, just as this one, but was also fully paid. And I can tell you that it is on record today that some of the most enduring projects that we have in Ekiti were the products of that first bond. This project, among others, include the popular Ekiti House in Abuja, next door to the East Day Road, the Ojuolopo Apartments in Victoria Island here in Lagos, the building that currently serves as the governor's office in Ekiti, and a number of enduring road projects. Let me assure you that the proceeds of this particular bond shall be channeled to projects that were carefully selected to boost the economic base of the state. We have swung into action already with several of the projects awarded as approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Out of these, a total of 11 road projects have been awarded and shall be funded to completion from the bond proceeds. But besides these road projects, the following shall also receive funding from the bond: the reconstruction of the Ikogosi One Spring Resort, construction of an ultra-modern civic center in Ekiti, construction of an ultra-modern market mall in Ekiti, construction of the Lagos Liaison Office of the state, the rehabilitation and expansion of Ekiti Water Works, the rehabilitation and expansion of the Ero Water Works, the establishment of the State School of Agriculture. Let me assure you that we're fully committed to the actualization of these projects. The bond proceeds shall be judiciously utilized to ensure the completion of all projects earmarked for funding. It is interesting to note that all the projects were duly inspected and approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission. The Commission will also monitor the execution of the projects. We have a target of the next 24 months to conclude all the projects. And with God on our side, this will certainly launch Ekiti into a glorious new dawn of our dream. It will be recalled that the state received a letter of commendation from the Securities and Exchange Commission for good performance on the first tranche of the first bond, the one that was taken by Otuba Adeni Adibare. It is our goal to surpass this achievement by the quantum and quality of projects that have been undertaken. As already mentioned, a large percentage of the projects have been awarded with works at various advanced stages of completion. I am personally monitoring this works, but I've also directed a close monitoring and effective supervision by all concerned to ensure qualitative performance and timely delivery. I have also directed that a progress report be rendered to SEC on a quarterly basis as a measure of our accountability and transparency. For us, our work is an open book. That's why Ekiti State was the first state in the entire country to domesticate the Freedom of Information Bill into law. That is why we were also the first to sign the Fiscal Responsibility Commissions Act, as well as Public Procurement Act, because we know that corporate governance requires a great deal of transparency and accountability on our part. Let me seize this opportunity to commend the lead issuing house, Greenwich, as well as all the parties for their individual and corporate contributions to the actualization of the bond. I also owe our investors on this floor a debt of gratitude. Thank you for believing in us and ensuring that we are oversubscribed. On this note, pleased to thank you for this reception. I know it's not 2:30, so I have a lot of time to ensure that at least we listen to the doyen before I finally ring the bell. Thank you. God bless you.
It gives me great pleasure. I must thank His Excellency the Governor of Ekiti State for inviting me to accompany him for this visit. For many years, my contribution to Ekiti has been largely put in the cooler, but ever since he's been sworn into office, I have been recognized as the former governor of the state, and for this I must say I appreciate all the good and kind things you said about me and the administration that I led in Ekiti State. I liken my role to that of John the Baptist. One that protects with the way His Excellency has been performing in office, the short time that he has been there, it's obvious to me that he is performing his role the way it should be performed. And I am very proud and happy to have been the one to clear the road for him to come and perform his role. I must thank you all very much for the role that you played when we first came to the Stock Exchange. And I must thank you on his behalf as well, and on behalf of the people of Ekiti, for the role that you have played with this president. And I hope that in future, when those who come after us come before you as well, that you will give them the kind of support that you have given to us. Once again, I thank you very much, and like I said, I'm very, very happy to be before you, and I hope in the future that I'll have this opportunity again. Thank you very much.
Let us pray.